Hello, 'tis I, Fat Cow. I have a few, opinions I would like to share. My first opinion, thought, realisation is regarding the re-emergence of a particular photograph that has no face, and therefore there's no case that proves that the subject of the photograph is indeed something that belongs to a certain someone, let's say. Now, it's been matched up, it's been lined up with body hair and body shape, and I believe that that would actually hold up in a court of law, but that's just me. However, I do have one observation, and that is a certain larger individual that is also involved in this thing cannot acknowledge that it belongs to the person in the photograph. Not because it's not the most magnificent of specimens, let's say, but because of logistics. The logistics are, if that appendage belongs to that individual, I personally consider that proof that individual A, who the appendage belongs to, and individual B, who claims to be intimately involved with individual A, cannot have ever had coitus, because the evidence shown in photograph A1 and the evidence just looking at person B, their entirety is evidence B1. Any medical professional, anthropologist, biologist, wildlife documentarist, Sir David Attenborough himself would testify in a court of law that the act of coitus, penetrative coitus, between person A and person B is legitimately impossible. It's like a chihuahua trying to mount a rhino, or trying to penetrate a jelly with an eyelash. You know, I mean, the imagery is there. It's not possible. I've done it before. If this was a desired location and this was the astronaut would have to go through all of this to get to the desired location. You know, all this debris. And look, the astronaut can't dock. He can't get anywhere near the desired destination because of all of the debris in the way. Work with me here, people. I'm trying to think of clever things to say. If picture 1 belonging to person A is indeed of their appendage, that alone is proof that coitus has never happened, because it's not physically possible. My second comment, observation, is the claim that even if person B wasn't with person A, person B could get a person C with no problems whatsoever. As if that was some kind of brag. I'm going to speak on behalf of myself, and I'm going to say a few things that have been published in the news that some people might consider to be a trigger, but these go to prove a point. The difficulty in finding a person C for a person B, in other words, the difficulty in a woman finding a man that will engage in physical things with you is ludicrously easy. It's not a brag. It's not a notch on the bedpost proving how attractive and desirable you are. Why do I say this? And with all due respect to men and the owners of penises in general, and not the individuals I'm going to give as an example, allow me to elaborate. Just recently, there was a case of 3 men being caught desecrating the corpse of a tree-dwelling rodent. Now, obviously, I have questions. But one of the big questions that immediately pops to mind is, why was this a group activity? Why was there more than one of you? Why was this considered a thing to do with your friends? There is also the fact that mortuaries and morgues prefer to hire female technicians because male technicians, well, let's just say it is an profession that attracts penis owners of a certain persuasion. Yes, you don't even have to be alive to be desired by some penis owners and vagina owners. There are some vagina owners. There are documentaries about penis owners who stick said penis into the exhaust pipe of a car to get a required event happening. If men, some men, will shag a dead rodent, a corpse, or an actual car, how difficult do you think it is to get them to actually shag somebody who owns an actual vagina? You don't have to be pretty or desirable. In fact, I would argue, as long as you had 2 arms, 2 legs and a vagina, you would be preferred. But again, the 2 arms and 2 legs, I would say, are debatable. You could just be a torso with a hole. It's no badge of honour, it's no proof of how pretty you are. I am a certain vintage, let's say, and I was raised to have certain beliefs when it came to showing respect to other people in regards to my manners. Now, some people might argue that it's a bit antiquated to, enforce society's rules on each other. But, speaking for myself, I personally think manners are extremely important and show respect for yourself as well as other people. I am loath to talk about my bowel movements to anybody except a doctor if I really, really have to. I've only just, in my 5th decade, begun to accept that farts can be laughed at, which I learnt from my kids. But my kids are literally the only people I can laugh with should an event happen. When it's in front of other people, I am incredibly apologetic. I can't help it. And much as I adore Pedro Pascal, and I do adore Pedro Pascal, if I was to sit opposite him in a restaurant and discovered he chewed his food with his mouth open, I suspect, in fact I know, my attraction for him would somewhat diminish. So I fail to understand why a particular individual who repetitively claims to be extremely desirable fails to curtail certain behaviours that are, forgive me for being an antiquated old fart, less than ladylike. Now, I am very loath to inflict the idea of being ladylike or feminine on anybody because, quite frankly, you present how you want to present, and the idea of being ladylike is somewhat antiquated. However, we have to admit we are all, most of us, guilty of feeling that a female with bad manners is somewhat more let's say it's less forgivable if a female has bad manners and etiquette than a male, which is unfair. I think everybody should have manners, regardless. If I was trying to come across as being all sexy and desirable, the last thing I would do is belch in somebody's face. I wouldn't sit there with food dribbling down me. There's nothing sexy and desirable about that, unless you are a feeder. Is it called squelching or squashing? I googled it, And you'll be pleased to know it's called sploshing. That's right, sploshing. Like jumping in puddles makes a splosh. But definitely not with puddles. You know, when you're in the bath and you're literally pouring food all over yourself. It is a kink, watching people pour food over themselves, particularly things like trifle and custard and gravy and stuff like that. So yes, messy eating is within and under the umbrella of the fetish feederism, and it also has its own little, side gig. Manners, to me, are very, very important, whether they are antiquated or not. That's how I was raised, it's what I believe. And unfortunately, I am still of the mindset, probably because of my generation, because I try so hard to be as fair as I can be with everybody. But such poor manners and lack of control over bodily functions, and we all know accidents happen and we belch and we pass gas when we can't help it, but the lack of apology for it afterwards grates me. Do we all deserve a circle on the internet? Do we deserve only supporters? I would argue no. Nobody deserves only support. Nobody deserves any supporters at all. We earn support. We earn it like you earn trust. You don't deserve trust. You don't deserve support. You fucking earn it. And while Foodie claims she wants to distance herself from girl world, allow me to point out the glaringly obvious. You are 1/3 of the reason girl world exists. Girl world, 1/3 of it is your legacy, Foodie, and you cannot escape it. Now I welcome anybody to watch the shit I put out and to comment on it, and I can legitimately say, hand on heart, I have never deleted a comment. If comments fail to appear, it's probably because of the YouTube algorithm has decided a word you used was not acceptable. I have never deleted a comment, and I have never blocked a person. Do you know why? Because everybody has the right to an opinion. I can't dictate what your opinion should be, and I have no right to demand what your opinion should be. I can actively choose not to entertain your opinion by not responding, however. But everybody has the right to an opinion, and everybody has the right to watch whatever the fuck they want. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't hurt me. Again, I have no right to dictate what the people who choose to watch me say or do. The desire to change, the want to change, the wish to improve oneself is a noble thing. But as long as it remains a wish or a desire, and you do not actively make the effort to do it, it's just an empty promise. You either try or you don't. You don't try to try. And announcing your desire to do something or announcing your intention to do something is not the same as actually doing it. Boy, what a big exhaust pipe you must have. Anyway, I was thinking yesterday about a comment that was made about me, and then I remembered I have, you won't believe this, a tattoo. I know, shocking, isn't it? Well, this tattoo happens to be of a certain type of performer who performs their particular skill set under a marquee type thing. And I thought, I've already laid claim to the accusation. I have a tattoo of a marquee performer. And so I made a fucking t-shirt. And not only did I make a t-shirt, I'm going to make a fucking plushie. Because I own that shit. I'm proud of that shit. So, to the individual who made that statement, you know who you are. I'd like to thank you for the merch idea. So, to those of you who have decided that time is well spent watching the carnival folk ply their trade, I thank you. Also, the giveaway, the plushies, the squishmallows. I've decided two's not enough, so there's a third prize. It's a horny little devil. Third name drawn, whether member or just regular subscriber, no matter where you are on this little planet of ours, gets this. Look, it's got a nail. Gets this gorgeous monster. Take care, everybody. I don't say this often enough, but I am so fucking grateful to each and every one of you